This story begins in the year 1939, where we see a man named Basil Brown. He has been invited to the home of a woman named Edith Pretty. This was a time when World War II had already started. Edith wanted some work done that she preferred to have Brown do because the museum had suggested his name. Edith takes Brown to the land she had bought with her husband. On this land, there are several mounds of different sizes. Archaeologically, this land is very important, and that's why Edith wants Brown to excavate these mounds. She wants him to start with the larger mounds, but Brown suggests that they should begin with the smaller ones, believing they might find something more logical there. Edith agrees with him because Brown has more knowledge of archaeology. When it comes to discussing payment, they initially can't finalize a deal. Eventually, Edith makes him a good offer, which convinces him to do the work. The next day, Brown arrives at the site to start the excavation, and Edith assigns him 2 people to help. Brown digs quickly, and after some excavation, he finds a wooden plank underground. The museum officials also arrive at the site, because Edith had invited them to see how the excavation was progressing. One of them is the museum manager and the other is a curator. The curator and Brown together lift the wooden piece, but since it is very old, it breaks. This makes Brown feel very bad. After this, Edith takes the manager and curator to her house. The manager tells her that they want Brown back because excavation work has started at a Roman villa, and they need more people. Edith says that if Brown wants to go, she won't stop him. Brown then arrives there and tells them that he had mistakenly identified the wooden piece. It was actually part of a wooden horse and was thousands of years old. The museum manager insists that the site couldn't be that old. They ask him if he would like to work for the museum on similar sites, but he responds that he prefers to continue working here. Afterwards, Edith visits her husband's grave. He was in the army and has passed away, which is why Edith is always very sad. She then goes to the excavation site and approaches one of the mounds being excavated. When she enters the excavated area, Brown tells her to come out because it is very dangerous. Edith comes out from the excavated area, and then Brown goes inside to continue digging. Suddenly, a large amount of soil collapses on him, and burying him underneath. Edith calls other workers for help, and with great difficulty, they manage to pull Brown out. She then takes him to her library. Once he has fully recovered, he tells Edith that when he was buried under the soil, he remembered what his grandfather had told him about the Suffolk soil. After that, he goes back to the field with Edith and says, "You were right to want me to start with this large mound. All the other mounds are round-shaped, but this one is oval-shaped and is in the center of all the mounds. This means it is the focal point of all the mounds." Actually, Brown becomes even more interested in this site because during the excavation, he found a piece of wood that he believes it dates back to the 11th century. Now, he wants to excavate this large mound, which Edith wanted to be excavated first. Now, he starts excavating with the help of the people Edith provided him. Edith's son, whose name is Robot, also comes to the excavation site frequently. He talks with Brown, and they quickly become friends because they both have a keen interest in archaeology and astronomy. As they continue excavating consistently, one day during the excavation, they come across a very ancient item, which is an iron rivet from a ship. He takes it to the museum, where even the museum manager is amazed to see it. To explain this, he also goes to Edith, but Edith is not available at home, she's in London. Actually, her health is often poor, but when Edith returns from London, Brown takes her to the place where she had excavated extensively. There, Edith sees the ship. Brown believes that perhaps this was buried here in honor of some great warrior, and he wants to excavate it quickly and completely uncover it. Edith and Brown are delighted with this discovery because it's a significant find. The following morning, Edith approaches Brown and informs him, "The museum officials want to take over the entire site. They had offered me a substantial amount of money for it, but I refused because I want only you to carry out the excavation here." Brown really likes hearing this. Actually, he's a great guy, and that's why Edith finds herself somewhat attracted to him. So, she invites him to dinner, but Brown doesn't go because he's with his wife. He loves her a lot and he takes her to the excavation site, where he made the discovery of the underground ship. Brown's wife says, "This will be your biggest discovery yet. Don't let the museum people take credit for it." After this, they both return home, and at night, when Brown is sleeping, a heavy rain begins. He quickly goes to the excavation site, which he had covered before but now wants to cover even better to prevent water from filling it. Just then, another guy arrives there, and it's not just anyone, but Edith's cousin. He's called here to help Brown. The next morning, when Brown is excavating, he tells Edith's cousin, "I have read about the ship, which had a chamber in the middle with a grave inside. Today, we'll dig here all day, and everything will become clear." Just then the museum manager, along with some other people, arrives here with the head of the museum. When the head of the museum sees the excavation site, he is completely astonished. He says, "From the archaeological perspective, this is a huge discovery, and now, I need full control over the entire area." Brown refuses to comply with this and says, "I have conducted the excavation at this site, and the owner of this land is Edith. Until Edith tells me otherwise, I will continue to work here." The head of the museum says, "I will quickly show you a letter of government and I'll take control of this place." After hearing this, Brown goes to Edith's place, but she doesn't want to meet anyone. Her health is always poor, she has had a heart attack before. But somehow, Brown walks into her room and tells Edith, "There must be a chamber amidst the ship where something valuable must be. And I want to see that thing." Edith asks Brown, "Did you tell the head of the museum about this?" He replies, "I work for you, and I can't tell anyone else about it. I need one more day." However, Edith's health deteriorates significantly. She replies, "The head of the museum said that soon we would receive a letter from the government, after which the British government would have complete control over this place." Brown says, "It's your land. You shouldn't let anyone take over your land like this." In fact, Edith and her husband had bought this land because its archaeological value was very high. But now Edith's health is extremely poor, she can't do much anymore. Brown also feels very sad because he had put in a lot of hard work here, and now the discovery he had made, the ship he had found, its entire credit will go to someone else. The next morning, when Brown goes to the excavation site, he sees that the head of the museum has arrived with his team. He tells Brown, "You can also work on the site, but you will be doing minor tasks outside." Brown doesn't like this idea at all, so he leaves from there. After returning home, his wife tells him, "You should stay around the site. This search is yours. If you stay around the site, you might get its credit." Brown agrees with his wife's suggestion, and the next morning, he goes back to the site where he shares the notes he made with the archaeologist there. Archaeologist says these notes will be very helpful to us, and now work continues steadily here. One day, while they're working, it starts raining, which forces them to stop the work, so they all halt their work. The head of the museum says, "I don't know when this work will end." Here, Edith is also present. She says you should take Mr. Brown's help. You've given him small task. If you take his help, your work will finish quickly. After this, the head of the museum also gives him important task. And because World War II is going on, the head of the museum wants to finish this work as soon as possible. Here, he calls two more archaeologists, one of whom is named Stuart, and the other is his wife. They begin excavation work there. Stuart has no attraction towards his wife, he never gives her any time, he is always busy working. One day, while excavating the ship area, Stuart's wife finds a locket made of gold. Everyone is amazed to see it. After that, they find more gold items, including a gold sword, gold armor, and more gold jewelry. This means they have reached the center of the chamber, which Brown knew about. Here, Brown also finds a gold coin. He says it's from the Anglo-Saxon period, meaning the 7th century. Initially, the museum head doesn't believe him, but when he looks at it through a magnifying glass, he understands that what Brown is saying is true. This discovery makes him very happy. He says, "Today, history has completely changed. Now we know that people used coins even in the 7th century, which was a part of their civilization." After this, they carefully preserve all the ancient items found under the ground. The head of the museum wants to take all the items head to the London British Museum. Edith insists that we shouldn't do that until the court makes a decision. This means that I have complete ownership rights to the land and everything coming out of it. Besides, due to the war, the British Museum is being emptied. If we send it there, these items will also be at risk. In fact, Edith is also concerned about whether she'll get the rights to these items or not. Then she tells Brown to put everything found here in my bedroom, and now all the items are placed in his bedroom. Edith's cousin, who was called here to help Brown, starts an affair with Stuart's wife. This happens because Stuart never pays attention to his wife. Stuart also gets involved in some work, which requires him to leave his wife at the same site and go to work elsewhere. The next day, when everyone is busy in work, Edith arrives and tells everyone that the court's decision will come on Friday, after which it will be revealed who the rightful owner of this entire treasure trove is. She expresses her desire for every person living nearby to be shown this site. However, the head of the museum does not want this to happen, but for now, Edith has the authority to edit everything here, so no one can stop her. Edith's health continues to deteriorate. In the meantime, her cousin receives a letter from the Air Force. This means he now has to leave to join the Air Force. Although Edith tries to persuade him not to go, saying, "After I die, you'll be the one to take care of my son." He responds, "I have no choice now. I must go." And with that, he leaves to join his duty. On Friday, the court's decision comes in, declaring that Edith has full rights to the site. This means everything found there belongs to Edith. After this, Brown takes Edith home, and the next day, they organize a large party, where they inviting all the local people. There the new site is showcased, and its importance is explained. Edith tells everyone, "We found a burial chamber in the middle of the ship, which contained very ancient treasure." All the credit for this discovery goes to Mr. Brown. Hearing this, Brown feels very happy and proud because he gets the recognition he deserves for his hard work. Although the museum head is not pleased with this, but now there's nothing he can do about it. Meanwhile, we see Stuart's wife looking at the photos taken by Edith's cousin, who has now joined the Air Force. She realizes that most of the photos are of her, and it dawns on her that he loves her deeply. This realization brings tears to her eyes. Edith comes over and sees her reaction, understanding that she is in love with her cousin. Despite being married to Stuart, she has no real relationship with him. They were merely living together without any love or connection between them. When Stuart tells his wife to come back home with him, she says, "Maybe it's time for us to part ways." Upon hearing this word, Stuart realizes that he never paid attention to his wife. He was always busy with work. That's why they are now separated. Meanwhile, we see Edith and Brown visiting the site where the treasure was found. Edith's condition has worsened significantly. She knows she doesn't have much time left. She tells Brown, "I will donate all the treasure we found to the British Museum." Brown remarks that no one has ever given such a grand gift before. Edith wants to spend her final days near the ship, so she has her bed moved to the site. Her son, Robert, is also with her, and he's sharing stories about the cosmos and telling her that when people leave this world, they become stars in the sky. Within few days, Edith's death comes swiftly, and the time was 1942. After her demise, her cousin, who had been serving in the Air Force, also returns home. Upon seeing him, Stuart's wife, who had been waiting for him, is overjoyed, and they embrace each other. Now, because World War II was ongoing, the entire treasure was hidden in the London Underground for 9 years. After this period, it was finally revealed to the public. For those 9 years, no one was informed about this treasure. For several more years, Mr. Brown was not given credit for finding this treasure. It was only a few years ago that research revealed Mr. Brown's significant involvement in searching for this treasure. After this discovery, the entire credit was rightfully given to Mr. Brown. This was a true incident that occurred in 1942 and has been made into a movie. So friends, we hope you'll enjoy the story.